News 3 is coming up next. We'll tell you what the Ayatollah says his role in the Iran arms deal was. We'll have a report on what Oral Roberts might call a life-saving deal. There's an update on the Park Place Mall shooting, and we'll talk to a congregation recovering from crime. I'm Ben Keesee. I'll have more news. Todd Demers has work week weather, and Les Smith covers it all on Sunday Sports Extra, next on News 3.
At First American, we're committed to one thing, making sure we give you the very best service possible. We want your banking business, but we don't expect you to just give it to us. We expect to earn it. That's why all of us at every First American bank are working very hard to make sure that banking is still a people business.
Ah, yes, the new car rebate. It sort of works like this. First, they charge you too much for a new car. Then they make a big deal about giving you some of your own money back. Who do they think they're fooling? Well, right now, it's no fooling days at your Hyundai dealer. But cars priced right in the first place. 7 XL models under $7,000 and starting at only $51.95. No bait, no rebate, no fooling.
Test drive an XL at one of these Memphis Hyundai dealers. We sell cars that make sense.
If you've got a taste for tall, tempting international cream cakes and pies made with real fresh whipping cream, only Kroger pastry shops have them.
So many to choose from.
If European-style crusty breads are your thing, only Kroger pastry shops bake all these fresh in-store every day.
So many to choose from.
Or if you just want to tempt yourself with the town's largest selection of pastries made fresh on the spot, it's the Kroger pastry shops.
So many to choose from.
Please, wear your safety belt. It's the law.
Channel 3, WREG-TV, Memphis. Now, from Memphis and the Mid-South, this is News 3.
Good evening, I'm Ben Keesee. A story in U.S. News and World Report says Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini may have concocted a deceiving scheme to get the U.S. to trade arms to Iran. The magazine quotes sources as saying Khomeini tricked the U.S., Israel, and the Soviet Union into supplying weapons by circulating false stories about his health and power struggles within his government. The State Department has not commented on that report yet. Former American hostage, the Reverend Lawrence Jenko, told a group in California today he's convinced the U.S. arms sales to Iran ended his 19 months in captivity. Jenko said President Reagan assured him in a telegram that he was not a part of an arms for hostages swap. Meanwhile, the mother of hostage negotiator Terry Wade is making an appeal for information about his whereabouts. Lena Wade is asking Muslim kidnappers to let her son get in contact with his family to tell them he's okay. Wade went underground 2 months ago to meet with Muslim kidnappers, but has not been seen since. Former President Jimmy Carter and North Syrian leader Hafez Assad are discussing what they talked about today during a meeting in Damascus, but sources say the two men talked about U.S.-Syrian relations in a possible international peace conference to resolve a bitter fight between Arab and Israel. There's no word on whether Mr. Carter asked the Syrian leader for help in gaining the release of hostages in Lebanon. Firemen say it was a scene of complete terror. Flames, thick black smoke, hundreds of degrees in temperatures engulfing the top 3 floors of a New York apartment complex. 7 people were killed in the blaze and nearly 24 were injured. Richard Roth has more on the tragedy.
A resident said the sound was like firecrackers when flames raced up a garbage chute and flashed into top-floor apartments, turning the Upper Manhattan high-rise into a death trap. 3 people jumped to their deaths from top floors out of sheer panic, according to a fire department spokesman who said the victims were badly burned before they leaped. 4 others died in apartments on the 33rd and 34th floors of the Block Square building in East Harlem, a 270-apartment complex where rents are subsidized by the government.
There was nothing they could do because they didn't have a terrace. And we were on a terrace, and it was tight for us, and the flames were coming down, and the firemen were throwing the glass down.
And it was way up there, but it was so much black smoke.
Firemen at first thought it was just a blaze in a trash compactor or the garbage chute that runs the length of the building, but that apparently was only where it began.
There was a sprinkler head over the compactor area in the cellar area. We're looking to see why it didn't activate.
At least 22 people were injured, some of them firefighters, mostly smoke inhalation. Building residents were led to a nearby church, and New York's mayor said authorities would help feed and clothe them. Like most modern apartment towers, the building was classified fireproof, but authorities said that simply means the structure won't burn, and the safest place inside would have been a hallway. Richard Roth, CBS News, New York.
Memphis police say a stolen car they recovered last night turned up some evidence that may prove helpful in that Park Place Mall murder Friday afternoon. The car used in the purse-snatching turn shooting was found at an apartment complex after a tip from someone who heard the description on the news. It was stolen and apparently abandoned there at the apartment complex. Investigators say they found some property and fingerprints in it. 53-year-old Gracie Williams was killed in that attack. There's more news next, including a racetrack owner to the rescue for Oral Roberts.
Introducing Command from FMC. It's everything a soybean farmer has ever wanted to do to a weed in one convenient package. The only soybean herbicide that kills grasses as well as the major broadleaf weeds without damaging the crop. And it controls weeds all season long because Command is...
Think you've seen it all at Opryland? Well, think again. Opryland 87 is a whole new shooting match. 2 new fully staged shows. The Rootin' Tootin' Way Out West. From radio's golden age, the big broadcast. New non-stop roving entertainers everywhere you turn. And a new skin-drenching water ride, the Old Mill Scream. So come on, get off that sofa and see the all-new Opryland 87.
Like you've never seen it in Opryland.
As a corn grower, you want the best possible yield. So when you choose a herbicide, you want the best possible weed control. The kind of control you get from Dual. And major university studies show you're right. 12 years of tests prove the best yields come from the best weed control. That's why Dual's longer-lasting control will provide better yields. And now Ciba-Geigy guarantees it. It's a guarantee we stand behind. Longer-lasting Dual. Better control, better yield.
Whoa! Here's a hot tip straight from the horse's mouth. A bunch of my friends are horsing around Hot Springs, Arkansas, now through April 18th at Oak Lawn Park. Hey, check the blanks on that filly. Chasing after $1 million. And that ain't hay. So call 1-800-643-1570 for information and get into Hot Springs, Arkansas for racing, fine hotels, and exciting nightlife.
Your old cattle paste gun has just been given new powers. Introducing Ivamec Paste. For worms, sucking lice, and grubs, Ivamec puts new power in paste.
It looks like a racetrack owner will make sure Oral Roberts doesn't have to gamble with God for his life. Roberts has claimed God told him he would die if he couldn't raise enough money for medical missionaries, but Gary Reeves reports a special donor is coming through.
Dog track owner Jerry Collins says he came to Oral Roberts' rescue out of concern for Roberts' future.
I don't want to see anything happen to him, and that's the reason I come into the picture.
On today's syndicated TV show, taped before he learned of the donation, Roberts said he would retire to pray in his special tower until he reached his goal or his deadline.
I'll be here, and I'll not come down until we hear from heaven, until God answers.
Roberts says he needs the money to send doctors from his medical school into the third world as missionaries. Here in Tulsa, many applaud Roberts' efforts, but his claim of a death threat from God has done serious damage to his reputation. Even the normally supportive Tulsa Tribune has questioned Roberts' credibility in recent articles and editorials, and local ministers fear he's giving religion a bad name.
This is not Christianity, what he's talking about. It's an appeal to superstition and to the least common, least rational denominator.
He must have a different God than what we've got. Besides that, I don't think the man's a Christian anymore.
Tulsa's mayor worries that Roberts is polarizing the city.
There are people that have never believed much in Oral. I think they'll go on and think that this is a confirmation in their position. Those that do believe him will, at a time like this, will really have to suck it in and prove that.
He has a lot of faith.
And you do too?
Yeah.
Oral Roberts continues the vigil in his prayer tower even though he's reached his $8 million goal. He will receive the check there from Jerry Collins tomorrow. But with his hospital losing a reported $1 million a month, he still has a lot to pray for. Gary Reeves, CBS News, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Meanwhile, PTL Club congregation members are trying to keep things together to show support for that embattled ministry. 3,000 of them packed the Heritage USA Church in Fort Hill, South Carolina today. Last week, publicity over a sex scandal forced the resignation of PTL leader Jim Baker. The members of Capable Baptist Church just outside Memphis are recovering this weekend from publicity they didn't want, but they're counting their blessings after they were held up at a Bible study meeting last Monday. Today, there was a full house.
It was a day to be thankful for the congregation at Capable Baptist Church. Over 250 members gathered this morning for a special Sunday service at the church's gymnasium, the first since the robbery of 30 members last week. Those here say they're thankful no lives were lost. Testimonies were given by members who unfortunately were robbed at gunpoint at the church last week. They shared their experiences and their prayers with the congregation.
We felt the people in the congregation